Oh, yeah. And now, from North Platte High School Studio B, welcome to Bulldog Banter, where students, stakeholders, and alumni come together to traverse the transformative power of education. This week's episode sponsored by the North Platte Public Schools Foundation and the Flower Market.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maddie Hildebrand.
I'm Reagan Lampy.
And this is the podcast where we talk about all things North Platte.
And do fun stuff.
Today we're here with Daniel Stinman.
Yay! Woo! Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So, you guys at the college, you just kind of told us a little bit about it, are starting to make your own podcast room like this. So do you want to just talk about how that started, why you wanted to do it, and everything about it?
Yeah, so it actually originated the idea about a year ago. So we have, being in the marketing office, you always want to be transformative, right? You want to do something new, something original, something creative. And with the digital space just being a lot for messaging for a lot of colleges. So it's 2 years, 4 years, private institutions dump a lot of marketing dollars into the digital landscape. So I went back to the drawing board. I really wanted to try something different. How can we share our stories? Stories of our activities on campus, our alumni stories, those wonderful things that we do as a college. So how can we tell our stories? And so we hadn't yet tapped into the podcast space. And so we had a underutilized conference room that we used to have for team meetings and stuff. But my department has grown over the last 5 years since I've taken the role as the director of marketing. And so we've decided to kind of get rid of the conference room and make it into a podcast space. So it kind of, I think it was at the end of August, early September, we started really thinking about what could that space be. And my team really came together and started talking about those. What do we want in that space? What do we want it to look like? And then we got physical resources involved. Sean Ayton, from the director of physical resources there in North Platte, got him involved in the space. So what can we do? What we can't do? And they were pretty awesome because we gave them the concept or just some ideas, and they ran with it. And so it looks phenomenal. I would say we're probably about 95% complete. So hopes that we will have our first podcast at the end of February, and maybe I will be able to return the favor and have both of you on one of our podcasts.
I would love that. That would be so much fun.
That would be fun. We've never been on anybody
else's podcast. No, we
else's
haven't
podcast.
actually. We were going to have Guy Trainin, one of our podcastees. He was going to put us on his podcast, but never done it yet, so you may be the first.
We don't know how we are as guests, but
I feel it would be great.
So you've been in the position for 5 years. How has it developed and changed since you've been in that spot?
So I think when you are entering a new position, especially a director position, you always want to put your own flavor on the position. So I came in with my background is broadcast journalism. I graduated from Hastings College and with broadcast background, went and worked in sports information at Midland University in Fremont while I was getting my master's degree in education. Then went back to lower ed and started working for the Council Bluffs Community School District prior to coming to Mid-Plains Community College as a communication specialist. And so in 5 years, like I said, you want to put your own flavor on it. So I wanted to expand the opportunities of my department. We had a full-time and a part-time, or 2 full-time graphic designers. We have now transitioned that to a multimedia specialist, somebody who can be able to help us with some video projects, keep that in-house so we can churn those out quicker. So with some transition, obviously with some turnover in the department, we were able to hire Gracie, who has transitioned who was a student at one point. She was a part-time student, graphic designer for us, and then she moved into a full-time graphic design, and then we hired her as a multimedia specialist, really specializing in those multimedia stuff, the video stuff that we can do in-house. Stephen Barkley is my graphic design master, and then I have Jen Fuller as my public information specialist. She's probably the second newest to the group, and then I've also hired on a full-time sports information specialist, sports information specialist, Skylar Evans here in North Platte. So the transition has really been big for us because we're able to tap into different talents and stuff that we haven't before. And with new people, comes new ideas and new opportunities for us to market and promote the college to the best we can.
Jeez. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, but
I feel like sometimes it's just 4 people that do all of our stuff. We need to hire.
Yeah, we do need to hire.
The big thing about the marketing office that people may not understand is that we cover Mid-Plains as everything. We do everything from all of our graphic design stuff, from our fine arts programs to regular academic programs. We just try to cover it in a variety of different ways. Everybody gets their medium covered in some way, shape, or form, whether it be radio, television, podcasts, in the digital realm on social media, those types of things. We try to cover a variety of different ways to be able to market those things. And you got to have the right people in the right positions. And I think we are still going through some growing pains at times, but I have the right people in the right positions to be able to move us forward.
Yeah, that's great. Do you guys do any of the hype video-esque type stuff?
So the one thing that is unique about my department is we all have to help each other out. So yes, we do media days for all of our sports teams in North Platte and McCook. So McCook and North Platte are under Mid-Plains Community College. So we have media days for volleyball, men's and women's basketball, both in North Platte and McCook. We have softball, baseball, and golf. So we do those throughout the year based on timing. Obviously volleyball comes back early August, so we try to hit their media day probably right when they start, within the first couple of days of their practice. And then we roll into basketball sometime usually early or late September, try to get everything done before their season starts. And then golf kind of falls into that platform. And then when we get back after winter break, usually we try to do softball and baseball. And anybody else who might be new. We might have some transition of players in and out at the semester, so we try to get them covered when we come back from winter break.
Nice. Yeah. How do you guys run your media days? Because we're just kind of starting. For our last winter sports, we did a press conference. We did in here, we did a couple pictures, and we did our green screen. So how does your guys' media day go?
So our media day is pretty structured. So we start with maybe a 2-hour window for each sport. So I'm going to pick on volleyball because they come in August, early August when they come in and start having practices. So we have a limited window, a time window that the coach wants to be able to devote to media day because they need to get back to practices. Obviously, with the first or second day of practices,
Right.
They have a lot of things they have to cover. So what we usually do is we do headshots. So we usually try to find the biggest space possible. On South Campus, we have the McDonald Belton Gymnasium readily available to us. And with volleyball not having practice, we're able to take that space and we'll have different sections set up. So we'll have our headshots located in one spot, and then we'll move our poster shots or our green screen shots to another location in that space. And then at the end, when we're all done with all of our headshots and our poster shots, our green screen shots, anything that we need for graphics, stuff like that, we'll tear all of that stuff down. As long as if it's not in our shot, we don't really worry about it, but we try to tear all that stuff down. Then we'll get to the video portion. And so my crew is actually really good at okay, this is done, we can tear it down, or helping each other out. And I think that's, when we're having those big media day events and we have 5 of us or 6 of us being able to help us out. So tear that stuff down and look at that. So it's pretty structured. And then, we know that if we always tell the boys and the girls and the men and the women, the faster we get through the headshots and the poster shots, the green screens, the sooner we can get to the video, which is everybody's fun, which everybody loves that. So as quickly as we can get through that, the more time we'll have to devote to the video project, which everybody loves.
Yeah. For high school, it's just the kids are just at the point where they're don't want to be in front of the camera, and it's just is it like that in college still, or are they finally okay, I need to get my headshot done?
The freshmen are a little unsure.
Yeah.
Maybe they've done some media day type stuff when they were in high school, but it's not always the same, and ours, like I said, ours is pretty structured because we're trying to get through all of our stuff really quickly. And so they might seem unsure. However, we rely on the sophomores to be able to help the freshmen along.
That's good.
So, and then we say, hey, if we're doing headshots, if you've got somebody who you trust to be able to want to help you keep your hair out of your face, you're looking for that perfect shot, help your teammates along. So that way we can get through this faster so we can get to the video portion. So we really rely on those sophomores to be able to provide that leadership that we need to be able to move things through faster.
That's great that they can do that.
Yeah.
And I like how much you guys help each other. That's great because sometimes it feels like it's a cluster here. So that's
There's just
great.
a lot going on at once for
Yeah.
how little people we have to actually help us.
I know. We need to direct. we kind of tried to direct positions. Like Reagan, what were you the head of? I think Reagan was the head of social media.
Yeah.
I was the head of like short films. And then our other two boys
Sports.
were head of sports. But
It doesn't really work like
it doesn't work like that because I want to do everything.
Right.
I want to do sports. I want to do I love doing our hype videos. Those are so much fun. I love the short films. I'm not the greatest at social media like Reagan is. So that's her realm. But
Yeah.
And that's what makes us, my team, so diverse is we have a lot of talents in a lot of different areas, and we have a lot of things that we specialize in or that we would prefer to do. Like Steven's really good, as we were talking about the podcast, he's really good at the audio video stuff. And I have Gracie who does the multimedia stuff. So she really helps us with the McCook video stuff. And then Skylar's, her specialty is also video. So being able to have those three work together, and then Jen helps, we always help each other move lights and, equipment and that stuff around in those spaces. But it's really a team, we have to have a team to be able to pull it off. And with a limited time window, I feel like I would be doing a disservice to the coach if I said, hey, we didn't get through everything in this time. Can we come back? Because they're already generous enough with their time because they have enough to do in that first week anyways, especially with volleyball or basketball. By the time we get to media day for basketball, they're trying, and they're in the midst of practices. They're trying to incorporate their offense, their defense, and trying to find who's going to be the leadership on the court that they need, and those types of things. And so, taking away from that it's tough. I mean, I've worked enough with college coaches and working in sports information, and with high school coaches working in Council Bluffs Community School District prior to coming here to Mid Plains. It's I know that their time is valuable, and so I want to honor that, but I also want to make sure we get what we need. So that's why it's got to be structured.
yeah, sometimes we run into that quite often, especially with winter sports because the basketball coaches are like, okay, guys, we don't, come on, we need to get back to practice.
For our press conference, we had all the sports there, but basketball couldn't do it. Only the coach came because they were in practice during our press conference.
Right, yeah, so.
We try to not interfere with their practice, but it's so hard because nobody wants to do anything outside of the time that they already have to be here.
And that's I think that's the difference between high school and college, though, too. College, coaches are saying, you have to be here. This is kind of a mandatory thing. You don't get a choice.
Yeah.
Whereas high school, it's okay, I don't have to be there 4 to 6 or 2 to 4. I mean, I think it's just difference between high school and college.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They all want it so bad, but they don't want to show up
right.
for it.
That's another thing I found out. They're like, you guys better get our hype video up there. I'm like, okay, you better come to filming. Gosh.
Yeah, the nuances, the fun stuff, though. It does take time, and some people don't understand that, but it's pretty awesome when it all comes together and you have a good team to do it and put it all together. So
yeah, this year we've had a lot of the boys teams are really respectful this year with filming and stuff like that. So it's really nice.
Yeah. We didn't get that stuff last year.
A little bit of a difference. But so you've been in a couple different positions prior to now. So how's the difference between those positions to switching to the position you're at now?
So I think where it all started is at Hastings College. I wanted to do the ESPN thing. I wanted to do the play-by-play, be the color guy on TV, those types of things. So where did I get my start? I graduated high school at Maywood High School, which is just 30 minutes down the road, a very small Class D school. So the opportunities there were limited for broadcast. I think the only thing we had at that time was yearbook. So how do I get my start? Well, I wanted to do the play-by-play color stuff. So I ended up getting involved in the broadcast department, and I auditioned for the play-by-play color for men's basketball to start with, and then jumped right into the broadcast team. So I started getting involved as a freshman, in things that I wanted to do, things that I thought were interesting. And then through there, I got the opportunity to transition. Women's basketball has always been my thing. I've always loved women's basketball just because it's slower. And I feel like I could talk more and get more details into the games and really make it a holistic experience. And at one point when I was at Hastings, there was a guy who's a Maywood alumnus who used to run camps, Matt Fritchie, who was I believe at Bellevue, one of the Bellevue schools, and won many state titles when he was there. So he actually was the head coach at Midland, and I was able to get that backstory and try to relate some of those personal touches into the game, which was pretty fun, and be able to interview him before, because we kind of had a connection from the high school when he would come back and run camps and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And then I transitioned from that. I got the opportunity to call games at the national tournament. So at the women's basketball tournament in Sioux City, Iowa, to Tyson Event Center, I got the opportunity to do the play-by-play in color, not just for our games, but for other games as well. You know, they always have people, they hire out those types, but types of things. And I got the opportunity to just kind of step in there looking for people. And I'm like, what a cool opportunity to be able to get it on a national stage. And so that was pretty cool. Transition, did a lot of broadcast stuff. Locally, Hastings College had a lot of opportunities for that. And then, like I said, I was looking for something in sports, right? And so where do I go from there? Well, my wife, girlfriend at the time, we moved to Omaha, where we lived for 7 years. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was looking in retail, and then I ended up just trying to get in my feet wet, trying to get back into that market, trying to get back into that job, that profession. And I ended up getting a call from Midland University, and they said, hey, we have your application here. I mean, this was like months later. Like, this is like 4 or 5 months later. I'm like, I don't remember applying to this job. But they said, hey, we've got a graduate job open here in sports information. Would you be interested? And I'm like, well, you said sports, and they said graduate assistant. So I could get my schooling for free, and then so I got my master's degree for free, and then got to work in sports information. What else could I? What else could I want?
Yeah.
So I jumped on that, got into the program. The program took about 2.5 years to complete, and I got to be one of the largest athletic department in the state of Nebraska. At that time, they had 31 varsity sports, which is bigger than UNL, and they've since added more. You know, and some of those, you think about the non-traditional sports as well. We had ice hockey, which men's and women's ice hockey, which was new when I was there as a graduate assistant. They had lacrosse. They had women's wrestling, which I know is huge now in Nebraska, but they had women's wrestling at the college level. You know, you had normal sports like volleyball, the traditional sports like volleyball, men's and women's basketball, track and field, cross country. They had shooting sports, e-sports, dance and cheer as a collegiate sport. So there was many opportunities for students to succeed. So you got a variety of a lot of different things. And so that was pretty cool. And plus I started at the right time, because I just got into position, and then a week later we went to the national tournament. So I jumped in at the right time. So I was able to go with the men's team to the national tournament and their national tournament run, and it was amazing. So I got my feet wet right away. And with the sports information office there, it was one full-time and then like 2 graduate assistants. I think we ended up hiring a third during my time there, but it was 1 full-time and then graduate assistants. So we had graduate assistants covering varsity sports, and it was going all the time. You had baseball on top of softball. You had football and volleyball and hockey and soccer, on top of each other. So you would run from one to the next. So we had to balance those out, and we had to have a good team, and we relied a lot on students to be able to help us. You know, for soccer, ball shaggers, we needed people to go get the balls. Yeah. We needed, football, we would rely on students to help us take photos or get video or stuff like that if we were working up in the scores box. There's just a lot of opportunities. So you got a wide range of stuff. And then, I worked for the Lincoln Journal-Star for just a short period of time, and then I ended up working for the Council Bluffs Community School District. The difference between all of those jobs is what I really think that shaped me was working for CBCSD. You working for a metro area school, so you see a lot. And you see a lot of different talents, and you see a lot of different students, and I thought that was pretty cool. Also, when you come into a camera and you go in an elementary classroom, which I always thought was cool, you can cause as much disruption. Kids love to be in front of the camera, like, what you doing? So they'd always come up. And then at the end of the day, I could say peace out and then leave the classroom and just utter chaos and be like, I don't have to handle it. The good luck, teacher. But that was pretty fun. And I really loved my time there, and it was pretty awesome. And I got to do a lot of things. I started creating season posters for the sports team, started taking their photos on a regular basis. I would help them during athletic events, moving hurdles and stuff during track meets. And it was pretty awesome. Now, life has hit me since then because now I have 3 kids.
Oh, gosh.
But it was pretty awesome. I had the opportunities to do all those things, to cover a wide range of students in different backgrounds and different schools and different opportunities. And so it was pretty cool. And then, they're always forward thinking at CBCSD. So it was pretty cool. So they had a lot of initiatives, and they started a TradeWorks pathway and a lot of different pathways because they really wanted students to graduate high school with their high school credential and whatever certificate. So there was a lot of opportunities. So we had to market and promote that out there to students. So if you were on track to graduate on your sophomore year, say you're want to do the TradeWorks route, you could start taking college classes on Iowa Western Community College campuses as a junior and then as a senior. So you maybe would graduate high school with your high school credential and an associate's degree. Yeah. So you're on your path to graduate. Now, over the last, year or so, Mid-Plains Community College has also transitioned. We've gone free with our early entry dual credit classes, which has made a huge mark in our enrollment. And it's moved us up in the trajectory of people are taking more of those opportunities. So I like to see that. I know at least you get your feet wet. So maybe not everybody will do the associate's route, but they get the opportunity to get their feet wet, the opportunity to take classes, learn what college is like. Maybe if they were unsure about their pathway from high school or what they wanted to do, maybe get a clearer idea if they start taking those classes and what opportunities are out there for them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because that's like me. I'm not doing exactly like the associate's route, but I took stats last year at the college, and it was fun going to the college to take a class and then having to schedule my test time and come in and take it. And it was a little glimpse into what college is going to be like because I plan on going to UNL. So
yeah,
it was. I love that we do that. I think it's really cool.
Well, it's amazing this year that it's free. That's a great opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like that's probably one of the reasons that a lot of people don't take the college classes. But now that it is, it's great.
It's all about removing those barriers. Those barriers for students to be able to take those opportunities, open more doors for people to find their passions. And our hope is to boost enrollment that way. Obviously, with more students taking the early entry dual credit classes, not just here at North Platte High, but across our service area and our 18 county service area, but just the opportunities that we can offer to students in hopes that we've made an impact, that you guys will come to Mid-Plains Community College and maybe get your associate degree and then transfer on to UNL or wherever your pathway leads you. But start at Mid-Plains Community College because it's affordable. It is very affordable. I know that a lot of people will say that in marketing when they're promoting their 4-year institutions or their private institutions. It's affordable, but it truly is. And then you can get an opportunity, and there's scholarships out there that are available to you to be able to offset that cost. And plus, if you're unsure about whether you want to be, away from home or not, you can stay right here. You can still get away from mom and dad because we do office campus housing. So you can be on campus and start living your life independently if you want to, because we do have campus housing, but you have the opportunity to get that college experience and get involved in student life, get involved with student activities, and start taking classes at Mid-Plains Community College. And it can start as you're a high school student. And it's just an opportunity to help get your feet wet and then move it forward.
Right, yeah. It's great.
When you start your podcast, where are you guys going to, is it going to be on YouTube or Spotify or?
So we're going to hit all of the main outlets that we can. So Buzzsprout is an opportunity for us to be able to basically just put our podcast out there. I think at this point, we're going to call it season 1, and we're going to set ours up on academic years. So our academic year actually starts July 1st and then runs through the end of June. So we'll get maybe, I hope, about 10 episodes in, or if not more, 10 episodes between the end of February and the end of this academic year, so the end of June 30th, and then we'll start with season 2. So we're really hoping to kind of get our feet wet and over these next couple of months, and just really take off next fall when we return.
Yeah. Do you have a lineup of who you want to interview first or anything?
Well, the very first one I think that makes logical sense for us is to interview the president.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in his role for almost 2 decades. So him and I were Ryan Purdy and I were talking about this.
Right.
He's been almost in his role as the president of Mid-Plains Community College for 2 decades. That is rarely heard of in higher educations, because typically the presidents, they don't stay around that long. So trying to tap into that. Why is he here? I know he's had a family. A lot of his, all of his children have gone through North Platte High. But why does he stay here? Those opportunities of what could be at Mid-Plains Community College, share those ideas, what he's seen change in his 20 years at Mid-Plains Community College. What are some of the things that are obstacles? What are the new things that we should be talking about? What things that we should consider? The opportunities that are available. Really start celebrating that. And then obviously I want to touch on the free dual credit early entry, because this is our first year. So, and we obviously see when we look at our enrollment that we've seen an increase in students taking early entry dual credit classes through Mid-Plains Community College. So that's an episode in and of itself. But we're hoping to sit down with a student that be able to say, hey, the opportunity opened when you guys went free. And we're trying to, I'm working with Kayla to be able to identify a student or two to be able to sit down with us and have that conversation like, hey, this was a wonderful opportunity for me. I was able to get my start, but removing that barrier that, and not paying $50 or $55 or $45 or whatever it was for tuition, really helped me get my start. And I'm able to do that because you guys went free. So that's episode 2. Student life is going to be a part of it as well. Obviously in the second part of the semester, housing contracts open for the fall. So if anybody who's interested in wanting to live on campus, they need to know, what are the deadlines to be able to apply for housing, because our housing does fill up. But we always want more students to live on campus, because I think you get the whole campus atmosphere when you live on campus and you're a student, and you get to walk the sidewalks, and you get to see the teachers, and you get to be involved with his student activities and those types of things. So that'll be another one. Career services is, those opportunities to meet with business partners, community business partners, and those types of things. So that's another episode. So we've got a list. And then the list is ever growing.
Yeah.
North Platte Community College is celebrating, 60 years. So we've got that on the docket too. And then next year, McCook Community College is celebrating 100 years.
Okay. Wow.
So they've been around for a while. So we need to be able to market and promote those as well. And those are all episodes that we're going to have coming up in our list.
Yeah.
That's good that you guys have a list, because sometimes we got to get somebody.
Yeah. Who are your hosts going to be?
Yours truly.
There you go.
I wanted to be myself to be the mainstay. Obviously,
Okay.
when you're in the director and marketing role, I think you have to be the face of the institution. But Jen, my public information specialist, will probably share the seat. So our idea is to have about 3 or 4 hosts, and that's the kind of the line. And then we could have student life. So what we're going to sit down and have a conversation is, student life is going to be in the hot seat to begin with, and then perhaps transition to one of those 2 individuals, whether it's Cade or Sydney, and then they can move the transition to the hot seat. Gracie, who I mentioned earlier, is my multimedia specialist, will be able to jump in the seat as well. So trying to get people familiar with the transition of different people, because I think that as we want to make this sustainable for future years, if you're accustomed to transition and new people and new voices, then you're accustomed to change. So if somebody were to happen to leave their position, and you just all of a sudden have somebody new, then you're accustomed to somebody coming in and somebody that transitions. So that's the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
How do you predict that your program, and not only that, but the college, will grow after introducing the podcast?
That's a very good question, because you never know what could happen. You could launch your podcast and it be massively successful.
Right.
And people start, coming in from out of the woodwork, and people start taking classes, and our enrollment just goes up and up and up. But I think that's a hard one to answer right now. I mean, in my mind, I want this to be an opportunity for us to be able to share our stories, to share what makes us unique, and inviting alumni back, getting involved with people in other departments, getting them involved, and being able to share our story. Hopefully people will be able to fix on that and be able to say, hey, yeah, I did like my experience here. I want to share that experience, or I want to give back to the college in some way, shape, or form. Or, hey, I never thought about that, a college being right here in my backyard, and I want that experience. So I want to be able to, I want people to be able to share our experience, and makes us unique. And so my hope, you never know how things are going to go. But my hope is that we'll be able to launch this, and we'll get a good following, and people will be able to share their stories, and we'll be able to share the opportunities that Mid-Plains Community College offers. And then our students will be able to, or people that are interested will be able to say, hey, I want that experience too. I want something more. I want my college experience more, or I want a new opportunity, and I want to stay close to home.
Yeah. I hope this podcast helps for that. Hope we can get you guys as much as you need.
Well, I think that, this is a cool opportunity to be able to sit down with you both today, and know that you've taken dual credit classes with us, is a new thing, because I think that's cool. And you'll be able to share that. What was your experience like? What was your experience like as a dual credit student, and removing those barriers? Has that helped you or hurt you, or has that hindered you at all? Are you still taking dual credit classes?
Yeah, I'm in dual credit for my advanced government right now. Okay. I took a couple dual credit classes last year. I love it. I love to think that because I take dual credit classes here with teachers that know my name and can help me directly, that's going to transfer over to college at UNL, or even if it doesn't, whatever. I got that experience first, but because some classes don't. But I like to think that a lot of my classes that I have taken dual credit will help me, in college in the future. And I love that we have that opportunity, especially now that it's free. And it's been great for me.
It's amazing.
Yeah, me and Reagan, we just recently took public speaking, and we did it online. So that was great. Everybody's scared to do public speaking at the college anyway. But being able to do that now is great. So I love it. Yeah.
It's been great for not even just us, but a lot of people that we know. Almost every single one of my friends has taken
dual credit.
So it's great.
Pretty much everybody I know takes dual credit.
So you're sharing our message.
Yes.
And that's what we're about. That's why I'm sitting in the hot seat.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Is there any final advice you'd like to give to anybody in your field, or just anybody in general?
From my broadcast background, I would just like to say, just make sure you see those opportunities, to get involved. I got involved when I was a student, I was a freshman in college. I really didn't know what to do. It was a different landscape for me. I went from a graduating class of 18 students to walking across campus, and I had small class sizes. We still had 20 to 30 in our classes, but, it was a different atmosphere. So get involved if you're a student and you're a freshman. Get involved as early as you can and find your love. I mean, there's so many things out there that colleges offer. Mid-Plains Community College offers that will get you involved. So get involved, or if you don't, ask, because there's probably ways that we could incorporate you into if you're interested in media, getting involved in media or marketing or promotion or graphic design. There's ways that we can even incorporate you as a student to get those opportunities for you, so you have that hands-on experience. We have many interns come through our department, so it's pretty cool. If you're interested in that stuff, we have opportunities within our office. So as a student, just get involved early. But college is ever changing. There's so many things that are impacting colleges, not just community colleges, but four-year institutions and what they offer. So what I would say to a student is look at the opportunities you have. Look at what you want to do, and look at and trying to figure out partnering with opportunities that those institutions have. Mid-Plains Community College is right here. It's home. We have many opportunities to help you succeed. We really want you to be the best person you can, and those opportunities start. And so whether it's in the free dual credit early entry stuff, get involved with that, or come see us, come talk to us, come take a class with us. Get involved early. We love being able to have students walk our campuses. We love students in our buildings, even if it's coming out and touring our podcast space when we get it done. Come see us. We want you guys to be involved, because without you, there would be no college. We really need students. We really want you guys to be able to look at us as an opportunity, and whether that opportunity is to, a ladder, and you're going on to a 4-year program, and then you want to work on your master's degree, you want to get a doctorate, whatever it may be, see us as an opportunity to get your start, because there's so many opportunities that we can get you in the door and start working towards whatever your final goal, your career goal is, and we can start moving you forward.
Great. Hope you all heard that listening. They have opportunities, great opportunities. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We love having you. Hopefully we can be on the hot seat maybe. Thank you to our assistant producer, Erilyn.
Yes,
and
thank you.
We'll see you guys on the next Bulldog Banter podcast. Bye.
Bye.